Günaydın. 9.35'te İstanbul'a vardık ve buradan devam ediyoruz. Bugün Turkcell'de görüşmem var. Uçağımız indi. Bakalım neler oldu. Selamlar. Turkcell'e geldim. Görüşmem var. Görüşmenin ardından sizlere tekrardan bir video çekeceğim. Bakalım görüşme nasıl gidecek. Yarın içinde Slush var. Slush'ta da girişimcilerin toplandığı bir etkinlik olacak. Yurt dışından bir sürü isim gelecek. O konuda da heyecanlıyım aslında. Günaydın. Dün Turkcell'deki etkinliğim çok güzel geçti. Orada bir randevum vardı. Genel olarak durumu konuştuk. Şimdi de metroyla Slush etkinliğine gidiyoruz. Bakalım görelim. Görüşürüz.
Aracı dedim hani 2 dakika sonra alacağınızı söylediniz. Aracı almadınız.
Basını stage 1'e yönlendiriyor.
Today I have two great panelists with me who have created legacy gaming companies whose games are played by millions of people all over around the world. So I'll just do a quick introduction about myself and then give the words to you to start with a quick introduction about yourselves and companies. So this is Görkem, founder of Lato Ventures, a Turkey-based gaming-focused early-stage venture capital fund investing.
So it's a new signal space. It is rooted in the world of physics. It's instant. We can do offline decisions no matter what the network quality is. And there's tons of opportunities. We are just starting to understand what we can do with this new category of data. So if we compare on the more technical side, the on-device versus server side, let's look again at these four decisive factors: latency, cost, resilience, and trust. So first of all, latency. I mean, that's clear. When it's about latency, edge wins. Because inference happens locally, you don't have to do the network round trip, and that means you can do any decision at the beginning of a session with no jitter at all. Second, cost. If you run huge operations, you're a publishing house, you have a portfolio of 30 apps with millions of users, you have to think about costs and scaling costs. So on device, the compute runs on the phone of your customers. That's great, because they take on a little bit of that cost structure. Resilience. Also, if you are on device, the decisions there, they don't require connectivity. It doesn't matter if on the ferry the connection is sketchy, they're in a tunnel or somewhere where they have bad connection. And last but not least, this technology has been built under the circumstances of GDPR. It is designed based on privacy by nature. So we can do what we do without collecting PII, meaning it is out of the box GDPR compliant. Because if you have machine learning models running on device, you don't need to know who that person is. You just need to have statistical significance to make a decision, is this a good moment or a bad moment for triggering that decision. So what we are building here is what I like to call a data infrastructure layer. And what do I mean when I say that? It's a foundational layer of a new data category that we call on-device contextual information. And as a startup, as Context SDK, we have built so far first applications and products on top of that infrastructure layer. Context decision that allows you, with the help of machine learning, to improve any given prompt within your app while the app is being used. Or context push that brings the same capability to push notifications, seamlessly integrating with push notification services such as OneSignal or Custom.io or Firebase, and allowing you to send your push notifications not only based on a server-based timestamp like on Thursday 2 p.m., but on Thursday afternoon between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. when the timing is right. How we do that? With background wake-up calls, checking for 2 seconds the real-world context, and if it is a great context because the user is engaged, is at the table using their phone, we release it. If the phone is locked face down on the table, you wouldn't release it because the chance of interaction is pretty low. But there's so much more that you can do, and we're currently exploring the world of ad tech. So we have integrated successfully in the first ad network. So think about using these first-party data signals as golden signals that can be used as bidding parameters in a programmatic advertising case. Or another application, think about fraud detection. In a world of mobile where lots of companies have 7-digit budgets on a monthly basis for user acquisition, you want to make sure that you can identify any fraud, right? And for example, if a phone is tucked to the wall and does not move because it's part of a device farm, that's a great technology to identify that. But that's just the beginning. So we are proving the point that this new data category is here to stay, to be a huge leverage for the mobile industry and the app economy of tomorrow by building applications and products. But in the future, we believe that there will be thousands of engineers and data scientists building products and offerings on top of that data layer. For example, for the topic of churn prediction.
Believing in a founder when you meet them the first time. And this is a job as a venture capitalist where knowledge compounds over time. I've met now 10, 15, 20,000 founders over the last 15 years. And you develop some sort of pattern recognition of who you like to work with and who you like bring certain qualities and aspects that make them successful.
Slush'tayız. Videoda kal.
actually a service. So what we're also seeing is the intersection of deep tech and AI. So about 18 months ago, Hussein sent me a company called AI that he had invested in.
Indistinguishable from AI. It's actually incredibly useful. It's actually usable in a way that other modality may not be quite ready in. So to my third point is, voice is interesting. It sort of requires humans to generate. You know, text can read and create in a pretty faster way. Voice takes time. Listen to it takes time. Thing with that is in an enterprise setting, there's a lot of times that enterprises need to invest time in interfacing with their customer, whether it's customer support or talking to them, and that requires labor. Now that can all be interchanged and sort of supported by 11 Labs. So I think those are the elements that come together that makes the company quite special in that it's coming up during the right time of the AI revolution for the modality, and then it sort of learned the right lessons where it started from more of a consumer B2C product that has now evolved into sort of a true enterprise and consumer product company.
Right. And you said earlier that momentum is a moat. Do you think voice platforms are defensible because
we're seeing more and more companies be willing to accept this, but even more beyond that, how do you pitch this to the enterprise? I mean, it's about showing you value, bringing value to the.
It was quite interesting, wasn't it? About maybe 6 months ago, Klarna. Well, a year ago, just over a year ago, Klarna announced it was a big fintech, obviously. Klarna announced it was getting rid of all its call center workers,
Yeah.
And then about a year later, they said, actually, we're going to bring a lot of them back because we can't. A lot of mistakes are being made. Do you think there's going to be a flip again, a reverse? Do you think that call center workers are going to be, decimated completely forever, or that they'll just be sort of upgraded to other jobs? I mean, obviously, you're providing technology the companies can use to replace them.
So this is obviously one of our biggest use cases, right? We're actually finding that the customers, these companies are actually getting more calls when there's agents now, since they don't have to be put on hold, and you're actually getting direct answers right when you call, right? So you can skip any sort of IVR or phone tree. And also the people within the customer support zones do not have to take very basic questions that are typically being asked or typically just connecting them to other departments, right? They can actually have the higher priority questions or more important questions to answer instead of wasting their time on more one-day calls.
Yeah, I would say, I think George Hinton is called father of AI once in a while, but he sort of predicted that radiologists are all going to go away because AI can read it and interpret it.
Jeffrey Hinton, yeah.
Jeffrey Hinton, thank you. It turns out that there are more radiologists now. And it turns out one of the reasons is because you get to actually reduce the grunt work so much. And I think customer call is actually one of a good use case. You ask are we going to see a string back and forth? I think there are a lot of eagerness from enterprise and board level down to adopt this technology, and maybe you're seeing a little bit of that, we're so excited, actually turns out there's some more work that we need to do. But I think for every company, there's a lot of those who are actually very thoughtfully thinking about how does that fit into my workflow? How do I actually use it in a way that I reduce my costs? How do I use it in a way that I increase the revenue per employee, what have you? And so I think you're going to see that. As a customer support, would that go away? I agree with Kabir. I think it opens up a lot of the customer support agents to answer more urgent and high value calls. But I'll leave you with this. A couple months ago, my internet went down, so I got to call Verizon, which will be Turkcell here? I don't know. I was on a hold for a while, and the agent finally got on, and he was mean to me. Oh God, I would much rather deal with a phone tree or level now voice, trust me. So I think there's a lot of that where, look, was he mean to me because he was too busy and he was asking other stupid things? I don't know.
The AI never gets tired.
Exactly, it'll never get tired.
And it's not allowed to be rude.
Unless you want it to be.
Yeah.
Yes, well, watch out for that.
Infinitely patient.
Yeah, exactly, yes, that's very true. Very interesting, isn't it? And one last thing, we obviously seen over the progression of the launch of this burst of generative AI, first with the ChatGPT coming out and becoming a consumer product, and then chat bots, and then enterprise, application level, and now we're moving into the agentic level, agentic era. Do you guys see anything beyond agentic, or does we get to agentic and it goes a bit nuts, or what do we think?
Jensen said robotics.
Robotics.
Yeah, it's funny though. Agentic, we actually forgot to mention. Agent is actually conversational agents.
Right.
Is actually one of the fastest growing sector for 11's business.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you think about sort of consumer, enterprise, agentic sort of voices, it really is interesting to see where the adoption is happening. So right now, I think we are at the earlier stage of enterprise and customers, what have you, really spending real dollar on sort of conversational agents.
Yeah.
Where does it go from here? I don't know, Mike. I'm more into observation game than prediction game, to be honest.
Difficult to predict, isn't it?
Sure is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Great to have you.